Hi, guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Styled Sessions podcast with me, your host, Tiana, and I'm joined by very special guests today. For those that don't know, this is John, and he's my husband. He'll be joining us today. We've got the whole family in here right now. We've got both dogs because we can't do anything without having them follow one of us around. So wish us luck. This is probably going to be a little bit more of a chaotic episode. So, honey, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Are you excited to be here?
Of course.
Perfect place that you in to spend your Friday night.
Yep.
Ready to be talking all things marketing for the girlies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we'll go ahead and I guess, do you want to give your intro first, or do you want to we're going to do highlights and lowlights of like the day or the week or whatever. So
it's your show, man. Whatever you want.
We'll go ahead and I'll have you go ahead and just introduce yourself to the girls for those that maybe don't know you, don't know your lore. So maybe just share what you do.
For sure. So hi everyone. My name is John Dorsley. I'm Tiana's husband. I work for a nonprofit here in Toledo. I'm the vice president of marketing and engagement. I've been there for about 6 years, and I have been able to climb the ladder and done all kinds of things. But very much since I started, I've managed social media, website, email, all aspects of marketing. And then I also oversee volunteer engagement too for my organization. Prior to that, I did a little bit of sales before the pandemic, but you know how that goes. And then I graduated from Bowling Green State University with a degree of marketing in 2019. And then I'm from Michigan, graduated from Farmington High School. And yeah, I'm just someone who really loves all aspects of marketing, especially digital. My favorite medium is email. And, I just think there's so many cool ways and different things that you can really connect with people and try to communicate a message.
You want to share some of the things that you do with the salon? Some things that you've done for the salon?
I don't know. I feel like I haven't done. I mean, I help get the salon open, and I advise, and sometimes I think I'm a soundboard, but I don't know. I feel like you give me a little more credit than I actually deserve. I really don't do much. I think you kind of do your thing, and sometimes you need some advice, which I'm happy to give. But that's all you.
I feel like you don't. You got me set up. You got the business plan. You got the starting budget. You got the business plan. You created the current budget.
I mean, I would do a little this and that. I mean, some back end, because you don't like to mess with Excel spreadsheets and stuff. So, want me a good spreadsheet?
I feel like you helped me get a lot of things. You helped me get things started so that I can like implement.
Oh, yeah.
You help me with like the big picture thing so that I can like handle it day to day.
That's like the 5%, and then you just kind of just run with it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah. That's all you think.
Yeah. Well, you're nice. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead. I don't know if you've been familiar with our episodes, but we like to share our highlights and lowlights of the week or of the day. You'll hear people call it a peak and pit.
Yeah.
You have a highlight?
Yeah.
Highlight of the week or day?
Yeah, absolutely. So my highlight is yesterday, for work, we did a cool little volunteer opportunity where we brought some volunteers to help out at 3 elementary schools here in our city. And we're just helping the teachers get their classrooms set up, moving boxes, and really getting into that back to school feel. And so it was honestly a really good feeling. The volunteers had a good time, and most importantly, the teachers were very appreciative, because teachers do so much, and a lot of time they have so much to do, but not a lot of support. So that's the one thing that we could do to help them out. It's great. So that was a highlight.
Was that for the public, like Toledo Public?
They were Toledo Public Schools, which if anyone is in Toledo area, they kind of been going through it this year of having to close down some schools and things like that. So yeah, it was really important that we were able to help them.
Yeah, that's awesome.
The low light was the days leading up to that, because whenever we do anything big, I always get kind of stressed out and, little short and all the things and all that pre-event anxiety. So, that's never that fun, but then it all is worth it when it all comes together. Then.
Yeah. For those that don't know my husband, John is the most like calm, cool, collected guy. Like,
try to be.
He has like, of the 10 bad days that I have, or just the 10 days of like moods or annoyances or whatever, the man has like 0.2 on the regular. However, I have said before, and I will say it again, I don't really like my husband on event weeks, is what I call it. I definitely have just learned that, those are, of all the times I'm just a girl, so I'm constantly moody and stressed and all the things, and he always gives me space. So the least I can do is give him space to, have his weeks on big event weeks.
Appreciate it.
Also to the fall time, like from mid-October to like the end of the year. So that's a bad time for us. I feel like, just because that's like his busy season of events, and
big events.
Pray for John, and then pray for John and Tiana at that time, because I feel like our arguments go up around then, just because we're both
right, well, just on the edge.
Yeah, actually, we got a question about our jobs and stuff like that. I thought that was really interesting. We'll get to that later. Okay, well, we're going to do a little marketing Q&A, calling it Marketing for the Girlies. I had a question box on my Instagram, and you guys asked some really, really good questions. And especially with John being a marketing expert especially of his age, of his field. He's who I trust with he's not giving himself enough credit, because he's who I trust with all of my marketing things. And I don't think that the salon would have the platform that it has now if it wasn't for what he helped me start.
Stop the cat. You don't need me. You didn't need me.
I would not own a salon if it wasn't for you, honestly. So
I'm the Parmesan on your pasta.
Whatever. You're a silly boy. If you don't follow
Parmesan,
yeah, I know. The college friends would, if they're listening, they'll be getting a kick out of that one. That's for sure. If you don't follow myself or our podcast page on Instagram, make sure you do, because that'll be where you want to be involved in like future Q&As and things like that. That's where we will be for any types of things like that. So,
sure.
Yeah, let's get started. Some of these were like double kind of questions. We got a lot, like even for this first one, multiple questions. So a lot of these I just kind of like consolidated into like what the girls were mainly asking. So
for sure.
Also too, you do, obviously, I know you have the marketing brain of like a nonprofit on the mind all the time. I'm gonna have you switch gears into like the marketing brain for like a service provider.
Oh, I mean, we do provide a service.
That's fair. I feel like something else that I want you to talk about at the end of our Q&A is why, maybe talk about like the value of being involved in your community, what benefits that could give a service provider. That'd be really cool. The girlies want to know if you have any tips for gaining clientele through social media. Just give like
tips
top
for
one.
how I would gain through social media.
Yeah.
Okay. I think as a service provider, I think the biggest thing is to show off your service, but show off what's unique to you. So I think in the context of a hairstylist, some might say hairstylists are a dime of a dozen. So how can you differentiate yourself? So I think Tiana, she has really carved out a niche as a curly hair specialist and someone who is really welcoming of all hair, looking at her clients not for the color of their skin, but for the texture of their hair.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is so unique. And I think that's the one thing we've always talked about is really you leaning into that, because that's not something that a lot of people are doing.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously you had to work at it. So I think if you're someone that's just starting out and maybe you don't necessarily have your niche yet, then I think leaning in on the client experience. So what is something that someone experiencing your chair is going to get that isn't something that they always get? Like, are you always making sure to engage in good conversation? Are you being considerate about them? Or I think just some of those like intangible things that people like really appreciate when it comes to choosing a service provider. Make sure you have a way to collect testimonials and feedback, and really actually building a community amongst your stylists and just people that like your work.
Yeah. Go sit down. Sit down. Yeah, I think that's a good one. I'm not getting a ton of engagement on my posts. What am I doing wrong?
Yeah, I know engagement is a fickle.
It's a fickle.
Because there's this algorithm and all the things. I think, and this is why I think it's really important to. So one of the things that I try to do at my job is we are really intentional about tracking our data. And so, once a month, I have one person that works with me, but even before they were working with me, I try to be really mindful about checking my metrics and my analytics and see, see if I could find any trends or seeing is something working, are certain type of posts working better than others? Is there a time of day that I seem to, I get better engagement just because my followers are more active. Am I utilizing like video and pictures? I think I said especially video is big. I always kind of think a video can be your draw. So I think even if you can do one or two videos a week or every other week, and you have something like one of them are bound to kind of catch and not necessarily. I say you shouldn't necessarily be trying to go viral. Yeah. But just, videos are just a really good way to expand reach and get on that explore page.
I completely agree.
And whatnot. And so I think just making sure you're, doing a good mix of content. So I guess if I kind of come back and like circle all around, I think it's two things. One is like say paying attention to your metrics. So I said, make sure you're checking it. And I think now in this age of AI, like you don't even necessarily need to know like what it's saying. Like as long as you know how to get those numbers and literally put that in whatever your AI tool is, and it's like, hey, tell me about my metrics. Like what seems to be working? What's not working? And right there, it'll kind of tell you, and it can kind of analyze all of that data for you. And then I think and I think this is also important for you to have a plan. So like I said, taking that extra time, and like I said, it doesn't have to be intensive, but dedicating a time at the start of a certain season, maybe before, if you have a slow period, taking that time to work on a social media plan and make sure you're not just posting willy-nilly. I think it's not just enough just to post pictures of your work. Like I said, that's what everyone is doing. So I think having a good mix of, yes, you want to share some client, your actual work, but then also, show a little bit of your personality and education. And I think that's something I'm always talking about is being able to educate people. And I think starting out, like so you're probably more so educating clients and stuff. But yeah, what are those, quick tips that you can give to someone to help them feel good about themselves that day and kind of give them some confidence that what you're talking about? So those are the two big things I would say.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like I always say to the girls that like video, like before you hit post, think about like what your goal is of that post. Because if you are trying to like reach, more clients, right? Maybe instead of it just being just another picture, maybe we try to find ways to do more videos, because definitely in how the algorithm works nowadays is that videos, reels, even TikToks, like that's what does, your reach. And then if you're trying to like maybe get, retain, engage with your current followers, right? So whether that's like, trying to get people to pre-book appointments, connecting with your regulars, whatever that looks like, that's like important, like a high value, like educational post, things like that. So yeah. I completely.
Yeah. Oh, and even like some of like those like calls to action too. So I think like every post, and like I said, this kind of goes with like I don't think you always need to be showing off like your work, because I think if every post is saying book me, book me, book me, or book with me, book with me, book with me, I think that can kind of get
redundant,
so lost, because then someone sees your post in their feed and they're like, oh my gosh, she wants them to book with them, and I'm not even sure like what else do you do?
Like what else? What all do you offer? Everyone wants you to book with them, and that's what whenever I'm talking like doing marketing meetings with the girls, I always like whenever I'm asking them questions, like obviously our goal is to get clients to make more money. Like I need you to like think a little bit more than that, because otherwise you're not going to stand out if like. Yeah. Why else are like obviously that's what you're on Instagram for.
Yeah. Okay. So how are you building your own personal brand?
Yeah.
How are you growing authority? And like, so how can you just be someone that someone can go to and like can trust? Like, hey, maybe I'm not necessarily ready to book with Tiana right now, but hey, I really like what she has going on. Like, she really helped me with this styling tutorial that she did that I thought was really good. So hey, I'll at least check her out, and shoot, knows, maybe they'll refer them to someone. Like, hey.
I've had that a lot of times before where like either like it'll be like, oh, so and so referred me, and I'm like, I don't even do their hair. Or like people that, let's say they're like established with another, like, they've got like their OG stylist, right? And they're like, it's nothing against you. I love I've been going to my other girl since before you were even doing hair, before I even heard about you. But maybe like, another friend was maybe closer in the area to me, or maybe like their stylist isn't taking new clients or whatever.
Yeah.
You just never know who you're talking to. And even if, just like you have a really good point about that. Like, even if they don't book an appointment with you, like, you can still build a mini community around it.
Yeah. Yeah. And even, I guess, as we like talk about it more, I think it's also be willing to take risks. And I think that's like one of the joys of I think one of the benefits of social media is because there's so much happening and so many things going on that you can post things, and if it flops, then like who cares?
No one saw it anyway.
Yeah, no one saw it, and don't dwell on one or two posts that didn't do well, because like I said, everyone else they don't even know about it, nor do they care, because they're already on to the next thing. So I think it's always important to just try different things, especially with all these trends that happen. Maybe there's like a fun trend that you can hop on that that maybe is a little different, but you can just see it. That'll kind of help broaden the reach of it. So I think all
people
those
get in their heads too, at least in the like the beauty industry. If the people feel like certain beauty providers get too in their heads about like, I have no followers, or I have no one's gonna see my stuff. They're just so shy about it, and who cares?
And they won't if you don't post.
Exactly.
Right. No one's gonna follow
and
you.
I always like they're not, or people. I get that a lot. Like people being worried about what other people are gonna think. People are gonna talk about you anyway. Like, I would love to. I have yet to hear anything. I know people are talking about me negatively because I'm not dumb, but like it's never gotten back to me of like, what do you have to say? Oh, Tiana, post on social media. Yeah, that's my job to, like, that's what pays my bills. I wouldn't have the business that I have today had I not posted on social media. I wouldn't have the stylist. I wouldn't have the friends I have today.
Yeah.
Like,
you never know.
Who cares what people are going to say about you?
And I think this kind of ties into like your like data and tracking. I think something else that you can do too, if you're just really curious to see how well social is helping you, but like, so that should be kind of one of the things, whether it's on, I don't know if you have like a client form or just any like your inquiry form, like you should be asking people how they found you, how they heard about you.
I agree.
And I think even if you maybe you do find that no matter what you do, for whatever reason your engagement isn't there, but then you're seeing that you're consistently getting new clients and they're coming from social. That's just another way that kind of shows you that, hey, like maybe I am doing something right, and I'm reaching people, and so my social media performance may not show it. But that's again, that goes back to what's your ultimate goal?
Yeah.
Because what does it matter if you get 5,000 likes and all these followers if none of them are booking or none of them are referring or none of them are,
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Like what's actually like.
Even if you're getting paid from social media, you're not getting paid that much.
No, I know that's right.
So.
Yeah. I think that's a great answer.
For sure.
If you had to pick Meta ads or Google ads, and why?
This is actually real timely because I've been.
I was thinking when I saw this question, I was like, "Oh, he's actually."
I've been working with both actually in work, and so to be honest with you, I think Meta ads are much better. I think especially in the context of a small business or a service provider, because I think with Google ads, so the way Google ads work, right? So someone's searching and your name or your website pops up in like that search bar. That could be helpful, but it is so competitive, and you need to put in a lot of money for it to even like make sense. Like, so for example, I work for a nonprofit, and I have the ability. I get $10,000 in free Google ad spend per month as part of a grant program, and so I use it. And even with having 10,000 guaranteed dollars that I'm not having to pay, I'm still not really seeing like the results that like I would hope to get.
Like, but you would think when when you hear that you're spending $10,000, that like you're going to get like a decent amount of results.
And that's free money. So I can imagine if I was using 10,000 a month of my own my own money, I would be hot.
I would be sick.
So Meta though, so what I like about Meta is, I mean, at this point Meta is definitely pay to play. But what I like about Meta is you don't need that much money to really get a good like ROI on your ad spend. So like I said, there are times we're always doing events, and so I will boost a post or do an ad to promote an event, put $50 behind it, and I might get. All I really need is to sell 1 or 2 tickets from that ad post, and I already made that. I already made the money back, and that was the ROI. And so I think that's the benefit. So it's less expensive.
That's what I like about Meta ads, is that I've done that for a few different things, and it is very just reasonably cost.
Effective. 2, I think what also is good about Facebook or Facebook Meta is that, I mean, there's at this point, they have billions of people that are a part of that, and you can target. There's ways that you can target your ad so you're reaching a certain demographic. So say for example, you're a stylist and you've been working, and you notice your clientele right now is maybe high school, young college age girls, which is it's cool, but you're like, I really want to elevate. I want to get more older clientele that is going to be more consistent and can pay for some of my more expensive services. You can target that in Facebook and say, I want to target women who are in this age demographic, who likely make this amount, who or live in this area. And so you can get real niche, and you can.
Can you not do that in Google Ads?
Not in the way that Facebook can.
Okay.
And especially now Google Ads though too is, and I think we're gonna kind of see, but now with like AI, it might not even matter, because I don't know if you do a Google search now, it gives you a little AI summary right there, and so you don't even.
I thought about that.
You might not even scroll down, because you're gonna get what you. So you're hairstylist that specializes in blonding, and it's gonna.
AI is going to take control over that.
Like, honestly, if you're someone that's like thinking, oh, I should place a Google ad, I'd say no, do not do that. I think now, and something that I don't know, this might be a whole episode you have to dedicate. This is now seeing what you can do so that like AI search engines can start to recommend you to people that are searching for, like I said, those services, especially that you specialize in. That's going to be, I think that's going to be really big. And I think the stylists that can figure that out now will be in a very good position and be way ahead of the game, before like others catch on.
Well, here's the thing too. Like sometimes when I do a Google search for something, even though I'm on that back end of it a lot of times too, running ads for things, sometimes when I see that like someone, like a company, like they sponsored it to like be at the top, I think because I know that, then I'm like scared to like trust it at first. Because I'm like, are you really like, like, okay, yeah, you caught my, like, I see your name, but I almost like want to go to someone that like Google naturally pulls up.
I don't think. I think it's funny.
But I don't know if it's just because I like know. I don't know if it's because I'm on the receiving end, so that I know too much. So when I'm actually on the consumer side, I'm like,
no. Honestly, I think if you pay, you click on it because they don't get paid if you click on the ad. So if you get paid, but then you have no interest in
it's fair
doing the service or whatever they
got. So on Google Ads, you pay per click.
I mean, everything's pay per click.
Okay.
Yeah. So if people don't click on your stuff, then you don't get paid.
Okay. That makes sense. Oh yeah, I also love this one for you too. Text or email marketing.
So I think at the earlier I said email marketing is my favorite medium, and it is. And I like emails because when you think about all of the digital marketing spaces, email and your website are the only two things that you own. So I guess let me talk back. So in marketing, there's I can't think of the exact term, but there's you have like your own media and it's not earned media, but media that you don't own. Mm-hmm. So think of it like this. So if you're really heavy in Instagram, Facebook, or even, I think this is a good example of TikTok. If you're really, when all that TikTok stuff was going on, I thought it was going away. If you're heavily invested on these platforms that you do not own, so that means if TikTok, if they wake up tomorrow and they're like, you know what, we don't really want to pull the plug, and everything you have is on TikTok, and that's it. You're done. You're gone. Mm-hmm. Same thing with Facebook, same thing with YouTube. So I've always been a big believer in you need to get people from those mediums onto something that you own and you have control of. So that's like, so that's always your website, because as long as you're paying your bills and whatnot, your website shouldn't go away. Mm-hmm. And that's your mailing list, and your mailing list I think is always very valuable. And even today, email, I need to get back on. Email marketing is still very strong, and I know you're probably thinking, I don't know, I have all these emails in my inbox that I'm never opening or I'm missing. I mean, you may not, but I promise you a lot of other people are.
I'm just really picky and choosy over the emails that I choose to open up, Yeah. If it's ones that I just don't align with anymore, I'm quick to hit unsubscribe. But
the things that you care about, so I think, for example, and this works on me sometimes. I'm a big Nordstrom. I love me Nordstrom Rack. Man, you and
John and Nordstrom Rack go together. Like, what is sure. I think that hand holding emoji? It's like John, Nordstrom Rack, and that hand holding emoji.
I know. I'll repeat on my wallet when this Nordstrom Rack comes to
Toledo. Oh my gosh. When I saw that Nordstrom Rack was coming into Toledo, I was like, does John know this yet?
Oh man. Y'all talking about Trader Joe's. What?
I know. I was like, all this hype around Trader Joe's and Nordstrom Rack is yeah.
Oh my gosh. So what is it? So email marketing is still very strong. It's a strong platform. Now where I'm starting to have some challenges with email is because of Apple and honestly, Apple and I think Gmail. I think with Apple, there's that thing where they have something called Apple Mail Privacy Protection, and so you can send an email to someone, and because if they have Apple, it'll like open the email technically, but the person may not have ever seen it. So, so they usually say, like, for most emails, you want to shoot for about, 20 to 25% open rate on your emails. And that's like that's pretty good. So now you'll see that, and you might see 25% and you're like, oh my God, okay, it's a good email. But depending on your email client, you might be able to look and they'll say, actually, only 12% of those were real. And so less people are actually, getting the emails. And then don't even get me into Gmail, where they have those tabs, and so if you're not ending up in that primary tab, and like I said, Apple has that now too, then that's also just making this that much harder for people to see your email communications. And so I've just got into text marketing, so SMS, and so I'm going to be testing it over the next couple of months to see if this is getting a better response and people are actually getting the information that I want them to know. So I have to say a TBD. But I think my instinct though is originally I was a little turned off by text marketing, because I remember I was on this list and I got a text from them. I'm like, what the heck? Thankfully, it wasn't to my work number, so I didn't really care. But if it was to my personal, I would have unsubscribed immediately. I think it's probably because of the political text messages that we all get. Oh, yeah. It kind of gives me a bad taste in my mouth because I don't sign up for those. But
I know. I get those all the time. And I'm like, when did I ever sign up for any of these? And I've had the same phone number for decades.
Yeah. And I think that's like the big thing is consent. So, I mean, I think as long as people are opting in to your texts and, they know that they're going to be getting them, and you don't abuse it, I could see text marketing becoming a really popular medium. I think right now it's probably pretty expensive to break into. So like I said, I'm testing it, and I'm testing it at the lowest tier. And I know in theory, I probably will only be able to afford to send maybe 250 to 300 text messages a month. And, my mailing
list, which means like to 250 to 300 people, makes it sound like.
I mean, no, it might not, because I found out.
I just don't want them to think that like you're sending 300 separate texts, like people are getting 300 texts from United Way.
Oh, sorry.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, 300 total texts, so each person might receive 1 to 2. And so my mailing list is like 10,000 people, so there's no way I could afford to text
all of them,
even one person. And then also, if you're using emojis and stuff, it's gonna like cost more technically.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know. I'll be testing, and maybe I'll have to come back and let you know how that
we'll have goes. To have you come back and give us an update.
We'll see. I'll have you check with my agent. The price might go up after this.
Yeah.
So it's TBD, but I mean, I think there's some potential there.
That makes sense. Not a marketing question, but I would just love to know how you both show up for one another in your marriage with your busy and demanding jobs.
Oh, really relationship advice?
I know. Those are my clients. We can both answer.
I've been talking a lot. Why don't you go first?
I know. I thought that was a sweet question. I think even just like what I was saying earlier about like, we both know when, we both have been in our jobs for long enough now that we both kind of knowing ahead of time when the other one might have something more stressful going on. So, and trying to give each other like a little bit of grace during that time. Like, again, John's in his sassy era when he has an event coming up. And so even if he doesn't necessarily, I also try to get ahead of it a little bit too, a few weeks before, if I like think of it and be like, I know you have this event coming up. Like normally for you, it's like truly like the week of. I don't feel like you start to like really, I don't feel like you start to show your stress until the week of, but that for sure is just like I feel like just having a lot of grace with one another when we know. Also though too, I feel like knowing when we obviously with what we both do, we do most of our work outside of like the 8 to 5 hours, right? And we're both fairly understanding with that, but we also too both have like a boundary with that though too. So I think it's also too like even with that, like having a little bit of grace, but also too having a boundary. Like I remember the other night, even it was like 9:00 and I was like, all right, your community will need you tomorrow as well. You gotta leave the office for the day, and the reason why I know it probably sounds crazy, but we both basically work hybrid at this point, because he works hybrid fully. And then I do basically all my computer admin work for the salon and for all my other stuff here at home too. So, we have work at our fingertips basically. So I think that's a big thing. Yeah. Is there anything else you want to add on?
I think for me, I think what's interesting is I think we're in two different seats. So I think for me, I mean, from the moment we met, I obviously you knew what you were going to be, and I think even though you probably didn't think even this soon that you'd be a whole salon owner and things like that, I think I always had in my back of my mind that could be a thing, right? And so I think where you're at now, I'm not surprised at all because I saw the vision, and I think so leading up to it, all those years, I think I've done my best to push you to prepare, and like I said, I know you say like I kind of helped you get it going, and maybe that's why, because like I said, in my mind, I kind of I'm thinking 10 steps ahead, just naturally, and so I was prepared.
You've been telling me to open up a salon since
I think I asked you, open. I mean, I guess everyone asked you that, but but I saw the vid, and I think the way that you approach your work, and I think you're someone who I think you're not built to just be a hairstylist. Like I said, you're a creator, you're an educator, you're so many things wrapped. And I think at this point, hair is almost like a side thing. Like you just you happen to do hair. And so I think that's just having that preparation and having that in mind. I knew that if I was gonna spend my life with you, that was something
the life you were gonna sign.
I needed to I needed to know how to support you, how to be there for you, and what could I do if maybe you might argue that I don't do this well, but how can I just de-stress you?
Oh no! Okay,
I mean, just your regular. I know, but
you de-stress. You are my biggest stressor. You're my biggest de-stressor first, and then my biggest stressor second. Yeah. So you give me a lot of household minor inconvenience stress. But anything like big picture wise though. No, you are my biggest de-stressor.
And I think, and then when I think from your perspective, I think it's opposite because I mean, I don't know. I think I didn't really know what I wanted to do. Like you are.
You knew that you wanted to work in marketing and whatnot, right? But
I mean,
or business marketing.
But, I mean, I didn't know that.
But what that you knew. I mean, I feel like we knew you were going to have somewhat of an office job, right? But what specific office job? No, I think we had no idea.
Like I said, my first job was in sales, and I mean, I feel like you probably knew I wasn't really a salesman, but I was like, hey man, a man needs a job. So,
brother's got to eat.
And I think we could tell early on that
that was not going to be forever.
And I don't know, had it not been for a pandemic, I mean, who knows? I probably would have. So who knows what happened? So I think for you, I think I appreciated just being supportive and just kind of letting me figure it out. I'm also lucky that I kind of did find my lane. My second job I ever had, and
for you not knowing exactly what you wanted your career path to be. When you graduate, from the time that you graduated college, what was it, a little more? And that's even considering you graduated college and then a few months later was when the pandemic started. So for you to have found your career path and your passion so soon on, it's actually now that we talk about it in that way, I don't feel like I've ever thought of it that way. That actually is really crazy.
I mean, it was definitely some good luck, and along the way, I think you've helped me. You've helped me, not be too hard on myself. I remember something. I think it was was it the first or second big event?
I remember what you're talking about.
And it was this virtual event, and it just kind of went a little wonky, and it was just. Man, it was just stressful, and then I think at the end, I cried. I was so upset and disappointed that I cried, and you just you were good. You were reminding, you're like, hey, I don't know why you are being so hard on yourself.
Mind you guys too, again, this was a virtual event, one of the million COVID surges that we had when everything had to be virtual. And you were months into your job, and you put so much pressure on yourself. You're a lot better now, but even just the other day, I was saying, like, you were talking about work, and I was like, you're putting way too much pressure on yourself in this situation. Like, you've got to give yourself some grace.
And I know, like, just my imposter syndrome was pretty bad the first couple of years. Yeah. But I think now I'm definitely, I want to say I'm definitely like over that, but I think I still, hold myself to a pretty high standard as it relates to work. And a lot of people,
which I do love about you. You are. It's like one of your best and worst traits is that you have a work ethic that is truly so inspiring, right?
Yeah.
However, I feel like you're not with that though too, just for your own personal good. You're never able to enjoy the fruits of your labor because, just like what you said earlier, you're always thinking 10 steps ahead.
Yeah, I think I got like I sometimes I appreciate the small, even like what I just showed you earlier. I was like, oh yeah, look. I was able to. I forgot about really cool. GIFs. And,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, so I don't know. I think I can celebrate the small things, but it's So I think I guess all together, I think the big thing I think is just being understanding. I think being supportive. Knowing when you need to step in and be like, hey, like, I get that this is important to you and I get that, but like, listen, you have been at it at this point for this long and I can just tell that you're getting burnt out. And
we both have had so many
and like literally from a human biology, I don't know, mental, like burnout is real, and there's like a certain a peak of productivity, and then I think once you hit that peak, like you're just at that point, you're just not doing your best work. So I think being able to just read each other and just know when we need to step in and say, hey, let's take a break, let's go get some food, let's go walk. I think that's always important. Yes. And then above all, the biggest thing, and I mean this is like a something, the biggest thing is communication. Yeah. That is always that's like pretty much has like every year we make relationship goals on our anniversary. And it's always the number one thing is always improving communication, because I think that's something as a couple in all aspects of a relationship, communication is key. And if you're not communicating, if you're not on the same page, if you don't know what each other's thinking, if you don't feel like you can be open and honest with your partner, then all that other stuff will be so much harder than it needs to be. So that's probably been the number one thing that has kind of helped us.
Yeah. Because I think one of the things is if you will make sure that and I feel like it's mainly you that have to do it with me more so, is like letting, communicating like, hey, I'm like knees deep in this project that I'm in right now. Like, so, I'm going to be living at my computer for, whatever time, or I'm probably gonna have to pull out my computer and get some work done over the weekend, or, whatever time, because there was a time where there were multiple times where I'd be like, okay, you can't just live behind your computer. Like, you gotta or if you're you need to, that's not fair to you. That's not fair to us, and, but, I don't know. I feel like my job is just always at work. What I do try to do is if I'm running, I'm saying that I like to do this, but I didn't do this today. Like when I'm running late, I do like to let you know, especially if it affects, if I know something with my work is going to affect you, like, especially if it's working over or whatever, I do try to let you know. I saying all that to say, but I definitely was supposed to be home.
Check-ins no more. I mean, you're down the street.
I'm down the street.
Still. I'll sound centimeters.
Right. Neither of us have to. Yeah. How often do you recommend posting on social media a week?
It's probably one of those things. It's probably like an industry thing. I think the first consideration is how much can you realistically keep up with. Because I think that's what probably makes people feel intimidated or discouraged, or if they feel like, oh, I got to be posting every day, like there's no way I can keep. And so I think you get in that, I don't know if you call it analysis paralysis, or it's not that, but you just get paralyzed because you can't keep up with it, or you're inconsistent. So I think the first consideration is how much like capacity do you realistically have
consistently too, because like, you know, if you post, I mean, which sometimes that happens, like you're in the middle of a campaign or whatever, that's different. But like, you can't be posting 5 hair pictures one week and then none the next, and then the next week post 3 like that. You can, but like, I don't want to, like, you're not going to get good numbers then back from that.
And then on the same token, I do agree that you can post too much. So I mean, to be honest, I don't think there may be some, I don't know, for like an Instagram, you know, Facebook situation. Like, I don't think there's a lot of value in trying to post every single day. Like, I remember back when I first started, like, we literally posted every single day, 5 days a week.
I do kind of remember that.
We had something going, and like looking back, I don't know how I was able to repurpose that much content.
Yeah.
But you know, in these days, I think if you do like post that consistently, I think it could cannibalize your existing posts, and then I think it's just clutter, and I think people can easily miss it. So I mean, I think a good sweet spot is like 2 to 3. You know, two to 3 a week. I think if you mix it up, like, I mean, sometimes you also can go over if you're like wanting to participate in a trend that you know is popping. Like, obviously, like, don't say like, oh man, I made my 3 posts this week, I can't post. Like,
or 2, something that I've also done is like, actually I had a post that kind of like bubbled on my Instagram the other day. It's always the things that I post randomly at like 8:30 at night that I like had a random idea. Like, it took me 2 seconds to put together, but I had a post that was scheduled for the following day, but then I woke up and my post had like kind of bubbled overnight. I gained like 10 followers. I was like, oh, this post kind of like popped off. And I was like, okay, I'm going to like let this post kind of like keep living, you know, like keep kind of going up. So I ended up pushing back my post that I was supposed to post last night, and I have it scheduled for next week as well. So technically, I think on my Instagram I only posted once this week. You know.
Yeah, and then I think earlier what I said too, I think that the big thing is having a plan. So I think if you are someone who, like, say you do want to be consistent, like, I want to do 4 posts a week, but it's so hard for me to do that, then, you know, we are a big believer in the content days. Like, literally, you know, you could spend a day, spend a week or however a certain amount of days just collecting different types of content.
Especially if you're in your like clientele building era, like, you know, you might not have 4 quality hair posts that week to post.
Yeah. So. And like, literally dedicating, especially dedicate like 4 hours and just use that to just creating content and creating graphics.
Man,
and
all that. If I had 4 hours just to create content, like I used to, and I took advantage of that time, because now if I had 4 hours of my time through the workday to create content, I could have my content for quite possibly the whole year. Like, that might be a stretch, but like the way that I would do a lot actually for that. I just don't genuinely have the time anymore.
Yeah. So you're having a plan, and then I think you're having the plan, you know, dedicating time to create content, and, you know, like pre-scheduling. You know, the one thing that you always say is,
oh my gosh,
people seem to think you're so active, but no, you're not. You just know how to schedule ahead of time. So take advantage of those scheduling features. And it's like, especially if you have like your plan, like, so, you know, I'm going to do 1 hair post, I'm going to do 1 education post, I might do a styling post, and then, you know, maybe I'll talk about a product that I use, like a product highlight. Like, that's your weekly, your weekly cadence, or whatever or even not even that. Maybe I say no, actually not. Don't do that. I say look at it by the month. Maybe in a month, you want to post X amount of hair posts, X amount of product, etc. And then you look at your month, and, you know, you say, all right, we're going to do it on this day, on this day, on this day, on that day, on that day, and then you plan.
You can plan that around the clients that you have for the month, or again, if you're new, obviously you're probably taking more bookings last minute. Like, you can kind of plan that around that.
Yeah, maybe you're like, oh, I got this vivid color I'm doing. Like, I think that's going to be really cool to show off, you know, my experience with that, and that could be an opportunity to get more people who like that kind of stuff. Or, you know, maybe you're doing education. Like, hey, I got this. I'm doing this hair class. Like, I should post about it, let people know that I'm learning and all the things. So, I think there's always too much. There's never too little. So your sweet spot is 2 to 3. plan ahead, and just know to be flexible.
Yeah, I love that. Do you think TikTok works for increasing clientele? I know how much. I feel like your work is on TikTok for like a little bit more of an unserious.
Yeah,
way.
I don't know. Yeah, we don't.
I can maybe talk about this a little bit more if you want me to.
Yeah, we don't take TikTok serious.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, I do. Especially right now, there is definitely on TikTok, the algorithm definitely changed at the start of the year, and I call it locally viral. I have had since last fall, I have had quite a few posts pop off solely in this area, and it's like made my clientele like explode. It's all about SEO. Just in the, I don't know, do they call, is it SEO even on
I don't know
social?
I'm not sure.
Okay, I'm gonna call it SEO. It's called like search engine optimization. So like if the algorithm knows that you live in a certain area, so we're gonna say Toledo since we're here in Toledo. If the algorithm knows that you live in Toledo, or you look up Toledo things, and then it also knows that maybe you have looked up like hair trends, beauty trends, or just like small business things in the area. If the creator is using the right types of hashtags, talking about the right types of things, putting them in their captions, so on and so forth, TikTok is definitely pushing its content out to receivers that have looked up things in that area. I've heard so many friends, coworkers, clients say like, oh, my algorithm is all of a sudden super local now. And I don't know if it's like a public known thing if TikTok's announced that they've changed their algorithm, but I wholeheartedly believe that. And I've kind of started to strategize my content around that quite a bit. Not everything on TikTok is super strategized for me in terms of like boosting clientele. And I'm at a point now where I'm just boosting visibility of my personal brand that will tie back either to like cultivating stylists or more so increasing awareness to like my salon as a whole. But it's definitely gotten people that have been like the right fit of clients. If that's something that you guys want me to like debrief on a little bit more, I'm definitely happy to do that. I haven't done a ton of like actual like professional research on it, but just from what I do know about how algorithms work, I used to do a lot of social media marketing back in the day for like other businesses and stuff. So just from things I know about that and how the algorithms work and what I've noticed on myself. Long story short, yes, it definitely does. It's all about like, there's a little bit of a different strategy with TikTok because it's solely pretty much videos. Obviously you can post just photos on there, but it's a very high, the For You pages work different. The For You page on TikTok works different than the Explore page on Instagram, basically. So there's a little bit different strategy behind it. I post a little bit of different content on both platforms for that very reason. But it definitely can if you are strategic about it, for sure. Tips on referral programs. Or do you recommend referral programs?
This is like, if a client refers.
And yeah, in the hair world, it'd be like if I gave someone a referral card and was like, okay, if you bring back, 3 people to me, then you get like 20% off your next service.
I mean, in theory, I guess you probably know, but in theory, I feel like it makes sense because you're taking advantage of that word of mouth.
Yeah.
And I mean, probably I guess from your experience, I mean, the only risk is sometimes these referrals ain't ish. So.
Bro, I feel like sometimes my referral, like I don't know what other stylists think. Sometimes referrals scare me because like who you vouch, like sometimes y'all's friends are crazy. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I've had some referrals and I'm like, my chillest client, like my tightest client referred you and you are cuckoo. I think it depends on where you're at in your clientele. If you are bringing in ideal clients of yours and you want more like them, yes. If you are at a point right now where you are trying to like shift your clientele, and let's say you have all of your like what the hair world calls like your bread and butter clients, but you're trying to get in more like extensions, for example, that's probably not going to really work the way you want it to, because your 4-week root touch up might not see the value, might not really surround themselves around women that prioritize spending, you know, $1,200-$1,500 on extensions, you know. And I think it also depends on where you originally sourced your OG clients, will say. You know, if you got a lot of them from, let's say if you're one that, you know, you do a lot of like Facebook marketing, like if you're getting a lot of people from like Facebook groups, like, oh, you know, I had an, like if someone's posting like who has an opening for highlight tomorrow, you posted that, you got the client in that way, and great, maybe they kept coming to you, but they might not surround themselves around the women if you're more so looking to get clients in your chair that, you know, value, you know, maybe find you from like your website, right? And they're able to see your work that way. Like if you have your ideal clientele already, you got your process down, you know, your process works. Like it's one thing to have your process down, but you need to make sure if it works on your end, that's great. You need to make sure it works on your client's end. So if your clients are finding you the way that you want them to find you, great. Then that's when it would be a good time to go ahead and start implementing a referral program. If you need to work on how your clients are finding you and what services they're getting, probably not. Don't necessarily think that I would recommend that quite yet then. And then last question. What type of content gets the most online engagement typically?
Like funny videos or like that kind of
stuff.
Like,
yeah.
I mean, it's so hard. I feel like it. You know, each industry, each section probably has their own thing that like does really well. You know, depending on kind of where you're working at. I think maybe like the most universal, engaging content just might be stuff that's just like funny and like that doesn't take itself too serious.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, I love that one that you did with Esther when she's like sleeping, like she's like sitting on you, like reverse in your hair. Like that's like kind of silly. You know, I always love. I don't know. I
thought you were talking about the one we recently did when I drove away.
Oh, that was funny. Yeah, that was
so funny.
Yeah, I think because I mean everyone wants to laugh, and you know,
yeah,
I think in general, and I think this is for any brand. I think people. I don't think. Sorry, excuse me. I think people just appreciate when just brands, personalities just don't take themselves too serious. I think
feel relatable.
There's a long time where I think everyone felt like they had to be polished and had to be professional and all the things. And I think now we're just in an era where I think people just want to see, people love authenticity. And
you know, especially in this like AI heavy world, I feel like people are just craving like genuine content.
Yeah. I think in general, I think anything that's just authentic. And I think even if it's not funny, like it doesn't always have to be like funny. You know, it doesn't have to be some funny trend. Yeah. I think anything that just shows you as a person, something that shows your values, and something that like someone could like watch and be like, you know what? Yeah, I can.
Something that shows you for you, and that's kind of like where I feel like we both mean when we're like respectfully stop posting just your hair pictures and calling them butternut swirl latte balayage. No one cares anymore. Like that worked for me back in 2018. People need to see you for you. I feel like a lot of my clients now will say when they sit in my chair for the first time, I feel like I already know you because I see you on social media. Or my favorite thing is when it's someone's first time in the salon and they're like, oh, I kind of feel like I already know my way around here because I've seen the salon so much. Like that's what people want to see. That's what I crave to see. People want to feel like they're a part of a community. You don't need to, while some people think that I share every inch and detail of my life, I actually don't share a lot of my personal life. But what I do I share a lot of, and it helps people feel like they know me for me. I feel like I share a lot of what I know I want to put off with my clients in the chair, with stylists that I engage with, you know, and it makes them feel like they already know me. They're already a part of, you know, either my personal brand, or they feel like they're part of the salon or whatever. And that's what's going to get you the most engaged content. And even if maybe you post something real genuine the first time, if it doesn't work again, like that, if it doesn't work the first time, doesn't mean that it's not going to work again. And like, we need to stop focusing on like everything getting hundreds of thousands of likes. You know, we gotta come back down to earth for a sec. You know, there's billions of people on the internet.
Yeah, and I think they said going back, I think that the big thing's like authenticity, like being yourself. Like don't if you're not like into dogs and love plants and you know all about just all the things that Tiana is about. Like, so essentially, if you're not Tiana, don't try to post and be like her, because then when say someone does see that and they're like, okay, I see she's into this, and you know, I think we would click, and she books with you, and you're not that at all.
Yeah,
it makes you look fake.
Yeah,
and
it does.
I think that you lose credibility.
I've seen that a lot too, where people maybe come off almost overly polished on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or whatever, and then I meet them in person. I'm like, oh, I hear I was a little catfished here.
Yeah.
You know?
It's almost like...
And like, don't get me wrong, social media is so fake, you know? Social media is a facade. It's what you choose to share. You know, you don't need to share the raw, ugly things, but like, you can't always post you looking fully polished to the nines every single time, acting polished to the nines every single time, having all these like, you know, I know sometimes people, I've heard sometimes people like, maybe more like social media coaches will post like, you know, post about the hobbies that your clients like to do. Okay, if your client likes going to Pilates, but you don't like Pilates, like don't go to a Pilates class. That's like, they're not going to book, they're like, that's not, unless if you're a Pilates instructor, right? If you're a hairstylist, you're not booking with someone off of that. Don't fake yourself, you know?
Yeah. Or maybe you do it and then you realize it's not for me. It's not for you, and that's the post. Be like,
literally.
I tried
this because all y'all loved it,
and it ain't for me. This for the girls that did the Pilates and didn't make it through the class.
Yeah, literally, that's what makes things authentically you. That alone could be a series, actually, like trying things that my clients love.
And then see if you like it.
Yeah,
look at that. Hey, that's
my clients put me on Love Island. My clients put me on Heated Rivalry. My clients put me on Pilates. One of my clients put me on to Hot Pilates. My clients put me on to like restaurants. Like, y'all put me on to so many things.
Yeah, look, that's free game. That could be a good series.
That is a really good series.
Doing things my clients suggested.
Yeah.
And that could even be like, you could do the video like, oh, you're the one. What's the suggestion? The client could be like, oh, do this.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And then cut to you doing it.
That's a good idea. If you guys didn't know, like, this is literally our marriage right here, is us, like, since we're both, like, social media freaks, we're, like, always, like, giving each other random social media marketing ideas.
If there ever is a job where all you do is give ideas, I would...
Yeah, it's a consultant.
You're right.
That does, in fact, exist.
Oh, shoot, I didn't think about that.
You're funny.
If anyone's in need of a social media consultant, I got you.
You're funny. Okay, well, to wrap this up, those are all the questions that we've had. To wrap this up, I know you're really passionate about, again, just community involvement, things like that, especially in our little community. I don't know, talk about, maybe give just a little bit of insight of where you feel like, so I feel like in this world, we're so big on like, what's in it for me. So what do you feel like for a beauty service provider? What would getting involved in their community? What do you feel like that would lead to for them?
Yeah. That's very timely, because I just did a session yesterday about that. So I think as a stylist, I think you're in a very unique position, because you are you're a therapist, you're a hype girl, you're all kinds of things for your clients and your coworkers. And so I think as it relates to community, I think one of the best things that any stylist could do is just be informed and just kind of have an idea of where people can go if they're like looking for things.
Just being a resource.
So yeah, maybe you're talking to a client and she's stressing about, man, I got this childcare and da 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 da. Then it would behoove you to see what I think it would be good to know about. Okay, where are some resources for childcare or ways that I can help my client if I know that they have help with this, or animals. Like you said, we know animals are always a big help. Or say your clients are, you can do like you've done drives. I mean, that's always really important. So even if you did like a clothing drive and you donated that to a local shelter, there's so many here in Toledo, or food drives or any kind of thing. I think just bring awareness to an issue, I think, is always really important, a good way to use your platform. And how can you mobilize your clients and the people around you to help towards it? Because I think wherever you are, there's always so much going on. And so I think just the first step is being aware. And the second step is knowing what to do. So if I could do some self promo, I think if you're here in Toledo, one thing I think everyone should know about is 211. So it's a number that someone can call if they need help with anything. So you can call if you need help getting connected to a food pantry, if you need transportation, if you need mental health, like connection to like a mental health agency. Like it's like your one-stop shop for all kinds of resources. So if you're ever talking to somebody and they're just going through it, recommend 211. If you go to our website, we have like flyers and stuff that you're welcome, that people can download. And if you want to like keep some in your stationer by you so you can pass that out, I think that's a good way. So just being aware and taking advantage of your platform.
Yeah. Because you never know who you can help. I have recommended 211 either to my specific clients or if my clients are talking to me about like a loved one of theirs that maybe is going through it. And I've had that happen quite a bit. Or just as a salon owner, I've also had to recommend 211 to maybe people that come into the salon and are in need of something that obviously I, as a salon owner, can't provide to them, but they're just looking for the nearest whatever that is. Just, you never, when you're, in an open business, right? You never know what could be coming into your doors, so that is really nice. And you never know who you could be helping with just like knowing what resources to recommend for them, even if, again, that client of yours isn't in need. A loved one of theirs could absolutely be in need, or even a stylist of yours, a coworker of yours, an employee of yours, so on and so forth.
And I would say, and then even like one thing, if like you're someone who wants to be like hands-on, I think one of the great experiences I think you can always do is if you have the ability, or maybe that's something where maybe if you dedicate a month and say like any tips or percentage of sales will help you be able to like go to like a women's shelter and offer to do just like some wash their hair and style it, just kind of help them feel like confident. Because I can imagine if you're living in a shelter and you're, who knows if you're escaping an abuser or just some hard times or whatever that situation is, just because you're going through that doesn't mean you shouldn't have the opportunity to feel
like a woman,
get that experience of getting your hair done, talking to somebody. So even if you can get some of your hairstylist friends together and just
especially if obviously even if you are established, you absolutely should be doing that as well. But especially if you're like newer and you just want to get your hands into hair, like that's the easiest way to do that is to help those in need.
Listen, I bet if you reach out to any of those shelters and you say that you're willing to come and you can do like a hair day for some of those ladies there, I said washing hair and all that stuff, I promise you they will love that, and you will make that lady's day in a way that you probably wouldn't be able to describe. So if you can, and you can find some people, that's also a great way to help.
That, or even too, I've done this a couple of times before, of Even if you don't go to a shelter, if you know of a client that is in need, you don't necessarily need to do a grandiose thing for them. Whether you heavily discount their service without them knowing, do their service for free. I did that one time for a really close client of mine that literally, she was a single mom and had a she wanted to cancel her appointment to buy her daughter Christmas gifts, and I was like, I am just going to do your hair for free. Like, if that's truly the only thing that's stopping you, like as a single mom, and this was back when I was like 20 years old, so I'm, so I was a young.
You're how old?
2021.
How old are you now?
28. Why are you questioning me? I guess I was 22, maybe 21, 22.
No, I was just being funny just because it was a long time ago.
Oh, stop! It was a long time ago. And it was, I was like, why do I feel like I'm being questioned? No, it was like within my first year of doing hair. It was one of my first like regulars that I built, you never just simply doing things for
others.
You're like just, women in need, whether, like while obviously, you 211, the nonprofit you work for, just, our community is in need as well. But you also too don't know, like your clients that are finding ways to sit in your chair, you don't fully know, like they might be just as in a much need as, others in the community as well. So it's one of those things that like not everything, obviously, we're here to make an income to pay our own bills. So you can't do that, necessarily all the time. I totally understand that. But, sometimes it's more than just hair and just money. There's sometimes there are things that you can just do, even just in your chair, that can really just showing up for others, whether they're in need of financial support, whether they're in need of just emotional support, mental support, whatever that is, just, I feel like those are one of those things where like you put good into the world when you're in need of it in some way, shape, or form, whether it's, again, financial, emotional, mental, whatever, like that will come back to you. Not everything needs, while we just sat here and talked about a bunch of like strategy things, sometimes it's just simply being a good person, using your craft and using what you're good for, using that to just simply create goodness in the world. That's what I feel about it. Anything else you want to add?
Oh, you said it.
Well, thank you so much for coming on here, honey.
Of course.
How was it?
It was good. It was a good conversation.
Yeah. Would you come back?
Oh, you kind of just put it on my calendar. So
I did. I literally put it on our family calendar. Did I put it on your? I don't think I put it on your personal calendar.
I know, this is my personal calendar.
I mean, fair. He was being a little pokey about it, so I finally just made him. So honestly, y'all should
hate on this episode. Say you never want to see another man on here. And,
they'll be like, "We love John."
I won't be mad at it. But it's been real. It's been fun.
Thank you guys for listening, watching, whatever it is that you're doing. Be sure to like, subscribe, all the things, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.